from a personal development point of view, because this is what this session's all about, it's about rapid change, whether it be health, wealth, and relationships. And, let's talk about being stuck. If we look at that concept of being stuck, typically it's either we're stuck in the past or we're stuck in the future. So if you think of the timeline, and really the objective to get unstuck is to get back to present time. Now, sometimes we're in situations or environments that are really, really challenging, that, they're not where we want to be. And there is kind of a state of flux, if you will, or time that needs to happen in order for us to be able to shift that environment or whatever it is. So I always say, if you're in an environment that's toxic or that's really, really challenging, we've got two options. Either we change it. If we can't change it, we need to change our attitude. And that's a mindset thing. And that's where we can start to use it potentially as leverage and drive to be able to shift. And we can do that by kind of thinking bigger. And so that would be kind of, if you're stuck and you're going back into the past or whatever it is, i.e., this person or authority is triggering you, doing the mindset work, but also connecting to a bigger vision, a bigger mission, a bigger purpose, and using it, using the environment, using the structure, using the resources. When it comes to employment, I always look at it like whenever I went into an employee structure, especially early on, I knew I wanted to be in business. And I think it was because I started doing personal development so young, so early, that I was reading books and attending events at age 12. And indirectly, I knew I wanted to do something big. I wanted to make an impact. And yet here I was stuck in an IT position that I really did not like. I was a technical support specialist for Lexmark. And so I'm sitting on the phone, kind of handling problems all day with printers and all of that type of stuff. And I got kicked out of computers every single day at school. Like, I would walk in and literally the principal would say, "Catling, get out." And I'm like, "I've done nothing." And he'd be like, "No, it's what you're about to do." And so I didn't even know how to turn a computer on. My mum and her partner, John, at the time were like, "IT is a growth area. That's where you should be." But I'm like, "I hate it." And so I only worked for Lexmark because they had a complete personal development program. It was Covey's 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. It was like a $20,000 program. And so I was like, okay, I'm going to work for this company purely for the personal development. But I didn't really like it. But I decided to use it. I thought to myself, like, an employee structure is an opportunity. Everyone goes there for kind of like money and all of that type of stuff. I never thought about it from that perspective. I thought about it from a perspective of, this is like university. What can I learn? What can I extract from this place in order to be able to, get out there and launch my own business and all of these things? And that's exactly what I did. And so I started to put myself in environments where there were, I suppose, leaders. And there was this one guy that was really kind of clever when it came to IT. So I sat next to him and I really learnt a new language, because that's what IT is. Any field really is a new language. And so I kind of learnt a new language very, very quickly. And I used it as leverage to be able to kind of shift fast. I started to realize that I needed to get into sales. And so I became almost like a technical salesperson within that structure. And so I transitioned to sales. I was the youngest person to get into sales in that company. And before long, I became a national sales manager. And this is like 1920. And I was like this wonder kid purely because I worked harder than everyone else, but for the perspective that I wanted to extract information. I wanted to learn sales. I wanted to really apply all of the personal development, and I skyrocketed up this organization. I then negotiated for myself to be out of the organization with a company car. So I now had my car paid for. And then I systematized my role as much as I possibly could so that I didn't need to be there. And then I launched my business on the side. So I used those resources to be able to get out there. And then they basically found out eventually that I was doing it, but I had my proof of concept. I was ready to go. And then I launched. And, by age 19, I had my first business. By the time I was 24, 25, I built one of the biggest personal development companies in Australia. And so it's this thing. There is always going to be times where we're going to be stuck, whether it be in the past or the future. Mindset work is part of it. Mindset work is designed to get rid of the paralysis, if there is paralysis, but it's still going to be fucking hard. You've still got to do it. Does everyone get that? You've still got to make this decision. You've still got to do it, and you've still got to execute. That's why if you look at exposure therapy is equally as powerful as kind of, mindset work. Sometimes mindset work can actually be a distraction because you can get your needs met around, connection and all of those things, and you don't necessarily have to take action. The only reason we do mindset work is so that you actually take more action. In fact, all of these kind of trainings and programs, the only reason that we do them is so that you take action, you take different action, and when you take different action, you get back to present time. And so that's what you want to look at. Are you stuck in the future? That means that you're just obsessed over everything that's not working. Okay? If that's happening, it means typically you've lost sight of your goal, or there is something out of your comfort zone and your unconscious mind is focused on that because you don't want to move, or it could be generated from the past, like both things kind of happening. So again, look at mindset work, but also look at action. A really powerful way to come unstuck is this process if you want to write it down. So step number one, reconnect to your goal, your breakout goal. And I really love 90-day breakout goals where we focus on results and then we look at the leader that you need to be. I think they work really, really well. Now, from a business point of view, if we kind of go troublemakers, it's like if it's a business, it might mean that you need to be the marketing manager. That's the leader you need to be for the next 90 days, or you need to be the influencer for the next 90 days, or you need to be the deal maker for the next 90 days, or the CFO, or the ops manager, depending on the phase of the business. Different types of leadership for different phases. And then, looking at the results and then, really targeting those 2 or 3 activities that are necessary to be able to achieve that specific outcome. And so if I'm stuck and I'm, I need to take more action and get momentum back, again, I do the breakout goal. I reconnect to my breakout goal so I focus on what I want. I then write a list of the top 5 things that I'm avoiding in relationship to that goal. And then I circle the top 2 that are typically outside of my comfort zone, and I hit them and I take action as fast as I possibly can before I can even think, before my wounds can come in and analyze it and take me out of the game. I just want to hit that thing. I want to fuck it up as fast as possible. I want to mess it up. Troublemakers, we make a mess as fast as possible. Forget perfection. Just make a mess, get someone else to clean it up, especially if it's deals. Go and do a heap of deals and then get someone else to come in and clean up all of the admin and all of that type of stuff. Okay? So that's kind of what I do if I'm to get unstuck. Is yes, I look at mindset work. Do I need to shift some limiting patterns that are causing paralysis? But again, it's only kind of 20% of the process. Remember the 5 steps to rapid change. Commit. Okay? Commit to that breakout goal. Release what's coming up. Focus. Develop the habit every day of focusing on what you want. Okay? Surround yourself, influencers, with people that are doing big shit, and then take massive action. Remember, that is a 5 steps to rapid change. Commit, release, focus, influences, action. And if you look at the platinum package, it's based on that. When we were running Live It Now, commitment, release, excellence now, breakthrough bootcamp, focus, coach now, influences, public speaking course, right? Influence now, because when you take a stage, you become the authority. Leaders attract leaders, okay? And then action, entrepreneur now. Because what do we have to do in business? Take massive fucking action. 8 out of 10 things don't work, but we've got to do the 8 things to get to the 2 things that actually work. Now, if it's not working, also look at your environment. That's a big one. Remember, structures create outcomes. If you are not following through, it means typically you're not in the right environment. We want a structure of creating, which is really uncomfortable. It's easy to be in a structure of fixing because I can just go, oh, I need to fix this, and then eventually I'll get to creating what I want. Whereas a structure of creating forces you. It literally forces you to take action. And so that's why, having one-on-one work, being part of mastermind groups, especially mastermind groups that you're terrified of, they're the ones you want to be in. And then surrounding yourself with a really high performance network of people that are like 5 levels above you. If you get all of those in place, it works really, really well. So today's session is really about unstucking yourself and getting back into momentum. Okay? Big one is exposure therapy, guys. Is actually the decision to execute and move. But again, if you're in an environment, you really don't like it, it's toxic, you've got one of 2 choices. Either change that environment, or if you can't change that environment, shift your attitude. And your attitude, how we shift that, is to create a bigger meaning. And that's certainly what I did with like Lexmark and all that stuff. I remember there were days where I was literally driving and going, this is hell. This is absolute hell. I hate this. I don't like the products. I don't like anything about it. But then I really shifted my mindset and created a bigger meaning and connected to a bigger purpose, a longer term purpose, and went, how do I use the resources in front of me to be able to hit that bigger vision? And I just pulled out my notepad. I just started jotting down what resources are in front of me. How can I utilize these resources? And how can I play a bigger game? So thanks for showing up today, guys. Bye, guys.